Hey, it's your guy Tyrrell back with the interviews. In today's video, we're going to briefly analyze Barella and Insigne's key role in Roberto Mancini's tactical setup following Italy's 4-0 win over the Czech Republic. When we break down the game and we do look at the board, we have the Czech Republic in a 4-2-3-1 that eventually shifted into two banks of four out of possession, and Italy starting the game in a 4-3-3. So in today's video, we're going to focus on how Italy looked to break down these two banks of four, focus on the players' movement, and where they were able to create high quality chances. So like I said, the Czechs did drop off into two banks of four, and what you end up seeing there is that it is a 3v3 battle in that midfield zone. Technically, it should be Locatelli and Barella against Kral and Darida, and then you have Jorginho being tracked by Barak. The other alternative for the Czechs was to have the two advanced players dropping off in between Jorginho to ensure that he couldn't get on the ball, and then you still have 2v2 in that midfield zone. So that means if Chiellini was to push forward, then you'd have one striker stepping towards him and then Barak sitting on Jorginho, and vice versa. If you have someone stepping towards Bonucci, then you have one of the attacking players sitting on Jorginho. However, while Italy's attacking structure was simplistic, the variance between how they attacked on the left and the right was vivid and ultimately effective. What you ended up seeing down the left-hand side was that Insigne was looking to drop off the right back to receive the ball in deeper positions. And then we would see Spinazzola pushing forward beyond Masopust or Jankto to create a 2v1 overload. What we ended up seeing was that Sofal wasn't able to track the movement of Insigne due to Spinazzola's movement, and that allowed Insigne to pick up the ball in deep pockets of space to create chances for his teammates. Locatelli in that midfield zone was often dropping off into an inside left position to get on the ball, and he was simply looking to evade pressure in that midfield zone. So on the left-hand side, Spinazzola was pushing forward to provide the width, Insigne was dropping off into deep pockets of space, and Locatelli was controlling the tempo of the game in that inside left position, and at times he was looking to break the midfield lines. One of the main reasons why Italy was able to find so much success down the left-hand side was down to the movement of Locatelli. He was often positioning himself ahead of Masopust or Jankto down that right-hand side, and that allowed Spinazzola to push forward. The alternative for the Czechs would be to have Kral pushing forward to close down Insigne, and then have Sofal shifting across to deal with Spinazzola. If they wanted Kral to hold his position, then you simply need Masopust to track the movement of Spinazzola, Kral to push forward to close down Locatelli, and then if Insigne drops deeper into that pocket of space, then Sofal needs to be tight on him to ensure that he can't turn with the ball. Ultimately, this is Italy's base shape against the Czech Republic two banks of four. You have both attacking players between Jorginho with Bonucci on the ball, Locatelli to the right of Kral, you have Barella to the left of Darida, and you see Immobile and Insigne checking into the center back and Sofal, while Spinazzola is in an advanced position and Masopust is doing a very good job of tracking his movement. But if you have Insigne dropping into that space to create chances, he ultimately needs runners. Immobile was occupying both center backs, but there were times where he was looking to spin in between the center backs into spaces in the channels or the half space to receive the ball in behind. Nevertheless, if you have Immobile occupying both center backs, when you shift to the right-hand side, what we ended up seeing was that because there was emphasis on Jorginho being pressed out of the game, Jankto was often pinching to step towards Bonucci, and that would leave Florenzi free in that right back zone to receive the pass. When Florenzi received the ball, if you have Darida shifting forward towards him, then that leaves Barella free in that midfield zone to make vertical runs. What often ended up happening was that Florenzi was able to push forward with the ball, and now what we ended up seeing was that Barella was often looking to make runs off Darida and he wasn't being tracked, so that would allow Barella to make that run in between Brabec and Boril. However, there were times where he was shifting laterally to drag out Darida, and that's where you would see Boril looking to step forward to close down Berardi, and Immobile would now make runs in between the center backs to receive the ball in space behind the Czech Republic left back. If we look to an example, here you could see Florenzi pushing into Czech Republic's half with Jankto shifting across to apply pressure, and Berardi's dropping off deeper away from Boril, and that's where you see Barella shifting laterally towards the touchline to pull away Darida. Florenzi opts to play the ball into the path of Berardi, and when Boril steps towards him, you could see Darida being pulled out of position by Barella's lateral movement, and that creates a large gap into the half space or the channel for Immobile, who's making a run across the center backs to break in behind. Immobile's run does see him receive the ball and drag out Chaluchka into right half space, but unfortunately for Italy, they struggled to create chances from this movement. The other manner in which they would attack down the right-hand side was that Florenzi would have the time and space to push forward to carry the ball, and that's where you would see Barella stepping to close down Berardi, who's holding the touchline, and Barella now would be able to make runs in between Brabec and Barella, or at times he was looking to make runs in between the center backs if Immobile's presence was able to occupy one of the two. Here you could see Florenzi pushing forward into the Czech Republic half, with Jorginho being closed down by the two Czech Republic attackers, Locatelli ahead of Masopust, and that's where you end up seeing Barella making a run off Derrida, Berardi holding the touchline to pull out Barella, and you could also see Immobile calling for the ball as he looks to make a run between the two center backs. Here you could see Locatelli on the ball in an inside left position ahead of Kral and Barak, and you have Insigne dropping off Sofal with Barella already beyond Yankto and Derrida. What happens next is Locatelli plays the ball into Insigne and Sofal doesn't step towards him, and it allows Insigne to turn and he locates Barella making a run in between the center back and Barella. Insigne now clips the ball into the path of Barella, and while the initial pass doesn't place Barella in a position to score, focus on Immobile's movement off the center back as he places himself in a zone where he's able to receive the loose ball and put Italy ahead. Here you could see Chiellini on the ball with no pressure being applied towards him, and focus on Insigne making a run off Sofal to the left of Kral into a midfield zone. Chiellini ends up playing the ball across Kral into the path of Insigne, and now that pulls out Derrida, and it allows Barella to begin to make a forward run into the gap between the center back and Barella. That results in Barella making a run off Barrella's shoulder to hold him in his position, and it allows Berardi to cut in towards his left foot, and he has Immobile checking in towards the ball, but he ends up playing a poor pass that's intercepted. From an inside left position, we witness Locatelli looking to play the ball across Derrida into the path of Insigne, dropping off Sofal, and focus on Barella position just beyond Kral. When Locatelli plays the ball to Insigne, he drops it off across Derrida and into the path of Locatelli, where he drops off to receive the ball, and that's where you continue to see the movement of Barella just ahead of Barella. Locatelli ends up squaring the ball into the path of Insigne, who's free to turn because Sofal doesn't track his movement, and that's where you now see Barella looking to spin in between the center back and Barella to break in behind. However, the issue that Italy encountered here is that Insigne doesn't look to play the ball over the top into Barella, and he opts to play it into the path of Immobile, checking in towards the ball, but Kral is able to step in to intervene. The other midfield issue that the Czech Republic encountered against Italy was the fact that Derrida and Kral couldn't pick up Barella, who was finding pockets of space towards the inside right position, and that led to several transitional attacks that ultimately should have increased Italy's lead. Here you could see Barella receiving the ball in acres of space to break into from a Donnarumma throw, and that results in Barella carrying the ball towards the Czech Republic box, and as he approaches Barella, he locates Immobile making a free run towards the back post, and he ends up clipping it beyond both center backs into the path of Immobile, who sees it late, and unfortunately for Mancini, he nods it wide of the net. In the build-up to Italy's second goal, Bonucci chests a loose ball into Jorginho, and focus on Barella freeing the midfield zone with no Czech Republic midfielder near him. Jorginho slides the ball into the path of Barella, and that allows him time and space to break forward at the Czech Republic back four, with Berardi peeling towards the right channel and Immobile just ahead of the center backs. That results in Barella carrying the ball towards the back line, and that's where you see that he could play the ball in between Barella and the center back for Immobile, or slide it out to Berardi. However, he ends up opting to carry the ball towards the box, and he ends up slipping and firing a deflected effort that beats Pavlenka to double Italy's lead. And then you could see Jorginho receiving Florenzi's ball recovery pass, and he instantly locates Barella looking to spin across Kral into an attacking position between the lines. Jorginho slides the ball into the path of Barella, and he locates the run of Insigne between the center backs, and he instantly splits both of them to play Insigne free on goal. However, when Insigne receives the pass, Brabec does a very good job of applying pressure towards the Italian attacker, and he forces him into a central position, and that results in Brabec coming across to poke the ball away to help clear Czech Republic's lines. So as you can see, although Italy were wasteful in the final third, A combination of Barella's vertical runs and Insigne dropping into midfield to serve as a creative outlet presented several issues that the Czechs failed to contain.
Hi everybody, thanks for watching and subscribe here for your latest tactical analysis and daily commentary on the InnerViews show. And if that wasn't enough, don't forget you could find more organic, unfiltered soccer/football analysis on the InnerViews podcast, the best soccer/football podcast in the world, available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, and any Android apps on your Android devices.